good boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm For Classic and welcome to BenchART. So for today what I do have in it is Project Cars 3, a game developed by Slightly Mad Studios, which is the same developers behind Need for Speed Shift, Project Cars, and now the recently released and, oh my god, bad game that was Fast and Furious Crossroads. So this game uses their in-house technology called Madness Engine, and I want some big news about this game. I want just to tell you this. Project Cars 3, it is not a simulation game like the predecessors. This is a full arcade game that clearly resembles Grid. Alright, this is shocking, I know. But let's jump first into the performance segment. So this is my recommended settings. It is to play with 1080p median settings. This is to achieve 60 frames per second all the time. For the benchmark, I did use two different tracks in here. I did use a track with a rainy weather with 31 cars on screen and you know, a not so regular track which was Tuscany, and then I used Silverstone with half of the cars on screen and dry weather, which was much less demanding. So looking to the recommended requirements, you can see that the game asks for an AMD Ryzen 7, 16 gigs of RAM, and an AMD RTX 2070 or an AMD Radeon RX 5700. So pretty beefy recommended requirements in here, which I don't understand why, because at median settings at 1080p on the Tuscany with wet environment and raining and thunderstorming and 32 cars on screen, which is a maximum, and starting on the last place, which is absolutely the worst case scenario, I was still able to get above 60 frames per second all the time. And so mixing the results between Tuscany and Silverstone with dry weather, what I got, it was an average of 99 frames per second. So if you go with median settings, I can assure you that your game will always run above 60 frames per second with median settings. Although if you go to the high settings on Tuscany, which is a worst case scenario, you can expect your game to drop below 60 frames per second. But the issue with this game is that the performance, it is so different from track to track. So like I was telling you, on Silverstone with dry weather with 16 cars on screen, my performance with median settings, it was above 120 frames per second. I could even play the game at high settings above 100 frames per second. But as soon as I gone to Tuscany and put up 32 cars on screen and put the weather system to be raining and creating puddles, you know, when you do that, the performance of the game, it is just much worse than on regular tracks. So I decided to choose median settings because we never know in career mode what type of track we will catch on. You know, we never know if you get a track with ton of cars on screen and raining. So if that happens, at least your frame rate will be stable. And to be honest, even at median settings, the game looks absolutely great. I don't notice too much of a difference. Even at the low settings, the game looks excellent aside from the textures. But obviously, since we have 4 GB of VRAM, you can use the textures on median or high. On median, on Tuscany and with 32 cars on screen, I saw the VRAM usage going up to 4 GB of VRAM, and I saw the game starting to use a lot of RAM. I started to notice some inconsistency. So on regular tracks, textures on high, it was fine. So my personal suggestion, just play with textures on median. It is good enough for the game. It's just textures on low that are absolutely ugly. Alright, that's what you should know. So this performance on this game, it is pretty complicated because it all depends on the track and the weather system. So it's quite complicated to choose a correct setting. Although the game did recommend me to go with median, and I do agree. I do prefer to have the game at 60 frames per second all the time, whatever the weather, whatever the number of cars, than just having tracks that performs above 100 frames per second, and then we go to a Tuscany track just for some reason because the career mode needs it, and then you get a deficient performance at around 40 frames per second or something. So I don't think that it is a good idea, and for that reason, again, I do recommend you to go with median settings if you have a GTX 1650 Super. So let's talk now a little bit about the game. Oh boy, we have so much to talk about it. I think it's a good idea to talk a little bit about the story of Slightly Mad Studios. So I remember when Slightly Mad Studios did develop Need for Speed Shift 1 and Need for Speed Shift 2, and I remember Slightly Mad Studios to complain against EA Games because they wanted to make a simulation game with all the bells and all the bells and checkboxes, alright, that a simulation game needed. And they created a crowdfunding, they exited EA Games, and they created the marvelous Project Cars and Project Cars 2, which both of these games I haven't on my Steam account, and they are great simulation games. They have its own defects, of course, but they are amazing. They are more simulation than Gran Turismo. They are more simulators than Forza Motorsport, but still they are not as much simulation as Assetto Corsa, which enables you to be able to play the game with a gamepad, despite might be a little bit tough for many people, but it was a hardcore simulation game. So this doesn't make any sense, because Project Cars 1 and Project Cars 2 both were hardcore simulation games, and now I open Project Cars 3 and this is no longer a simulation game. This is an arcade game that it is pretty much like Grid or Need for Speed Shift, which is a little bit funny because they exit EA Games because they wanted a true simulation. And now this game looks again like Need for Speed Shift. But what really pisses me off about this game, it is not the game itself. I do enjoy the game, alright? It is a good arcade game. If you are into arcade gaming, this game, it is very good, alright? It is at the same level of Grid or Need for Speed Shift. I really enjoyed the game a lot. But using Project Cars' name to release the game doesn't make any sense. They could make something like Dirt, where they do separate which ones are the simulation and which ones are the arcade. So Dirt 4 and Dirt 5 and Dirt 2 and Dirt 3 and Dirt 1, all these games were arcadish. And Dirt 5 will be also arcadish. Alright? While Dirt Rally, it was always revealed as a simulation game. So they could do this. They could say something like Project Cars Unleashed or Project Cars Turbo, anything that would resemble an arcade game, and they could create two different games than giving this Project Cars name as Project Cars 3, because people that will buy Project Cars 3 without seeing this video or seeing any other video or just checking a little bit over the internet expecting an hardcore simulation game, they will find a Need for Speed Shift in here or a Grid, which doesn't make any sense. People will feel robbed and tricked and cheated. So for me, I really do like the game. I think the game, it is a pretty good arcade game. You unlock your own cars, you buy cars, you have a very nice career mode, you can modify your own cars. So it is a pretty good arcade game, but giving the name of Project Cars 3, again, this doesn't make any sense at all. And that it is really killing my head in here, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people will feel shitted when they buy this game expecting a simulation game. But at least not all the bad news are bad news, because for all the people that complained about Project Cars handling that it was too complicated, so go ahead now. The game, it is now much more easier to play. I was playing this with the gamepad with a professional, not professional, experienced presets, which is not the most difficult presets to play, but still it was very easy to play like this. So again, this is a full arcade game now, and that really blows my mind. Despite the game, it is awesome, it is an awesome arcade game, but again, this is not a simulation game anymore. Alright, that's what you should know. So let's talk a little bit about the price. So at the moment, this game costs on Steam $59.99 for the regular version. There is even a deluxe version that costs $89.99 if you want to buy it. But honestly, I think you should buy through Greenman Gaming, which is offering a 15% discount, which means that instead of paying $59.99 for the game, you can pay $15.99. So it's a €9 discount. I think it is worth it in case you want to get the game. Alright, the deluxe edition, for example, it is also much more cheaper. So instead of $89.99, it costs $76.49. So in my opinion, it is worth it for buying through Greenman Gaming. Greenman Gaming, it is a fully certified online store. This is not a gray market store like Kinguin or G2A. Keep that in mind. This is a full certified store where you buy the game and you activate the key that they will send you through email on Steam. So it is exactly the same thing as buying on Steam, but it is way more cheaper, as you can see. So take advantage of this sale because it is a nice discount, and you can save money just buying through Greenman Gaming, which I always do recommend when there is a nice discount. Alright, so guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about Project Cars 3. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.